what's going on. Did you see what's going on? Obviously, you've seen what's going on in California. But the governor gave this creepy speech where he was talking about speculators coming in and talking about what to do with the land of all these homes that have been burnt down while it's still only 6% contained. And he did this little dance like, I've been talking with these, with the governor of Hawaii about what to do. We've got some ideas of speculators.
I mean, I've got questions, sir. I don't find you to be a truth teller based on a long history.
Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly just teamed up to deliver a verbal takedown of Gavin Newsom, so brutal even his hair gel took metaphorical damage. Rogan brought raw disbelief and biting humor, exposing Newsom's contradictions and flashy governing style. Kelly followed with laser focus, tearing apart his political record like a seasoned prosecutor closing a major case. They dissected everything from pandemic mishandlings to chaotic school policies, presenting Newsom as all style, no substance. Ambition had a smug face, they just lit it up for the nation to see.
Green, the governor down in Hawaii, you had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
With a big smile on his face. Look at the little wiggle he does with his shoulders. Speculator, watch this. Talking to John. Look at this little wiggle. It's excited about the possibilities of speculators coming in. And he's saying we're move forward. We're going to move forward on that. These people lost their homes. A lot of those people don't even have fire insurance because the fire insurance pulled out.
He had no dignity. That's what I was missing. There was no dignity. It just looked like a man desperate for attention. And whenever DeSantis was scoring points on him, he would interrupt over and over to try to talk over the points as just that's like a middle school debate tactic, which is pathetic and
Rogan leaned back in his chair like a guy who just saw a UFO piloted by a man dressed better than the aliens Gavin Newsom. Just the name triggered visible confusion like caffeine mixed with disbelief. No warm-up the moment Newsom came up. Rogan labeled him one of the most image-obsessed politicians alive, running California like it was his own Instagram page.
Illegals who are now getting Medicaid in California, thanks to him. Illegals. So, this guy's priorities are not with keeping people safe at all. He doesn't care about the crime, about the illegals, and obviously not about the fires, which after the fact, hey, sure, could somebody let me know how that happened?
He started with the obvious. The hair Rogan didn't laugh out of joy, but disbelief. Newsom's hair, he joked, looked held together by something stronger than gel, possibly pure presidential ambition. Even in a hurricane, everything might collapse. Except that perfectly sculpted hair to Rogan, the hair was Newsom polished, rigid, and untouched by reality.
Newsom either. Nobody believes in that guy. That guy's a f***ing con man. Everything he did in California, from trying to mandate vaccines for kids to being caught public without a mask and lying about the fact that he was outdoors. Yeah. Nobody believes in that guy. He's just a politician. Just a stone-cold, narrative-driven politician. Nobody thinks he's a real human. Whether you like Trump or not, whether you think he's corrupt or not, that's a human being. You know what that guy is. Same thing with RFK Jr. Whether you believe that he's correct about vaccines or whether you believe his policies would be effective, and that's
Then came the pandemic, and Rogan's tone turned sharp. Fueled by the hypocrisy, he slammed Newsom's stay-at-home orders, business closures, church restrictions, then contrasted it with that infamous luxury dinner with lobbyists while Californians were stuck eating leftovers on Zoom. Newsom was maskless dining like royalty. Rogan made it sound like a twisted, dark comedy, a ruler feasting in his castle while the peasants suffered.
We begin with California Governor Gavin Newsom, who spent the weekend trying to avoid responsibility as the fires were still burning by dropping by the Pod Save America podcast for an attempt to clean up his own image.
I want to know the answers. So I'm the governor of California. I want to know the answer. I've got that question. I can't tell you about how many people, what happened. My own team saying what happened. And I want to get the answers. And
You're the governor.
He mocked beach and gym closures as if sunshine and fresh air had turned into threats. Rogan said Newsom wasn't following science. He was following optics. If it looked like leadership and trended like leadership, it passed the test. Meanwhile, kids were falling behind, mental health was unraveling, and livelihoods were destroyed. But hey, great press visuals.
No.
Gavin Newsom said that you shouldn't be posting this. That we're going to make it illegal. And I'm going to sign a law. And he said, "Professor, suck on these nuts."
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. Elon retweets altered Kamala Harris campaign. Says manipulating voices in an ad like this should be illegal. I'll be signing a bill in a matter of weeks to make sure it is. And then he says I checked with renowned world authority Professor suck on these nuts. And he said parody is legal in America.
Oh my God.
What a wild dude.
Wow.
What a wild dude.
Rogan shifted to homelessness, shaking his head like he was trying to understand bad fiction. He painted scenes of streets filled with tents, needles, and filth, while Newsom smiled and said things were getting better. Billions spent, yet cities looked like post-apocalyptic movie sets. He called it failure, masquerading as empathy, starring Newsom in the longest-running disaster show in America. Then he hit the environmental hypocrisy. Newsom, the Green Crusader, flying private jets to climate conferences, building beachfront homes and selling empty promises.
He almost burned alive. The governor of California. Take a listen.
We went up to one of the canyons on the fire, sitting there feeling we're a good quarter mile away. I'm not making this up, video to bear it out. All of a sudden, we see an ember, hits the tree goes on fire, 100 seconds. God is my witness, may have been 90 seconds. The house is in flames. I have embers of flames. They're taking it off my hair, and we're running back into the car. Winds are swirling around. Garbage cans were in the air, and we were getting the hell out of there.
Okay, why is he saying as God is my witness and I'm not making this up before he tells the story? Truly.
Rogan cast Newsom as a walking contradiction, posing beside solar panels while his state suffered blackouts and droughts. Businesses were fleeing like guests from a bad party while Newsom kept DJing to an empty dance floor. Rogan rattled off names like Tesla and Oracle as California escapees. Then he shredded Newsom's high tax policy. How does the state with the highest taxes have crumbling roads and unreliable power? Californians were paying luxury rates and getting the dollar store version of government.
Saying what's going on. Our state.
And you weren't getting straight answers from
I was getting
leaders.
different answers. When you start getting different answers, then I'm not getting the actual story.
So you decided the thing to do would be to go on Pod Save America to talk about it because it's in the end, it's all about you. This is another David Muir, folks. He is just as vain and worried about his image in the middle of this emergency as David Muir with his little fake fireman's jacket.
He dove into social policies, classroom agendas, wordplay masquerading as reform and crime policies that treated theft like a suggestion. Rogan said it felt like influencers were running the government with Newsom as their smooth-talking brand ambassador. His voice wasn't leadership, it was a luxury car commercial. Kelly jumped in, saying Newsom didn't speak to people, he spoke at them. His speeches full of self-praise and jargon felt like TED Talks from someone who thought slogans could replace strategy.
I addressed Gavin Newsom personally. He follows me, so I tagged him. And I'm going to be honest, I begged him to please stop this for all the reasons stated on our YouTube feed. And he didn't get back to me. But I think I was shooting at the wrong public official who...
Kelly dissected Newsom's COVID response from another angle, accusing him of using the crisis to seize power and reward allies. Emergency measures became lifestyle commands. Except for him and his friends, she described a California where, repeat, offenders roamed free, crime was redefined, and the police were treated like villains. Newsom's version of justice, she argued, was chaos with a smile. On housing, schooling, and safety, she rattled off failures like a prosecutor reading indictments. She said he'd crumble under real media scrutiny. He survived because he fit the ideological mold, not because he delivered results.
Gavin Newsom told the Los Angeles Times Panera would not be exempt from the law. The spokesperson also denied a claim, the Bloomberg piece, which cited sources close to the matter, that Newsom pushed for an exemption that applies to businesses that bake bread and sell it as a standalone item, calling the report absurd. So is it a fake story?
Or is it something that they
might have corrected
hustled
course
on and corrected course quickly?
Kelly continued by hammering his obsession with attacking other states. Florida and Texas lived rent-free in his speeches. She said this was deflection, not leadership. She mocked his fake relatability, saying Newsom couldn't connect with average Americans, even with GPS's speeches, sounded like consultant-approved noise, not lived experience, her harshest critique. That he wasn't dangerous because he was evil, he was dangerous because he believed his own headlines. He thought applause equaled approval and style equaled success. He was political vanity in a polished wrapper.
Out there with his bazooka and was like, I solved this problem, and you governors better freaking go along or you're gonna get it. And I'm not kidding around. I'll read you what he posted. Stand by. It's amazing. Okay, he posts the following. California, under the leadership of radical left Democrat Gavin Newsom, continues to illegally...
As they closed in, Kelly delivered one of her sharpest points, calling out Newsom's education leadership. She said schools were falling apart behind. Flashy language classrooms were becoming ideological battlegrounds where kids couldn't read. But new buzzwords they couldn't spell, she said. Parents didn't want trendy talking points. They wanted their kids to read, write, and succeed. Instead, they got tax hikes and emotional brochures. It's like ordering steak and getting a coloring book, she snapped.
Thing is, how is his hair? Did it or did it not have embers in it? And you tell me what the answer is to my question about what the press would be doing to Ron DeSantis if he swung by the Ruthless podcast in the middle of the hurricane. The fires are still burning. There's zero purpose in going on Pod Save America other than to burnish his own image.
And of course, that's all he cares about, right? That's why he tells this.
Rogan closed it out with pure sarcasm, mocking how Newsom turned failure into branding power outages became energy innovation. Crime spikes were justice. Equity tax hikes were investments in the future. Rogan said only Gavin Newsom could smile through a blackout like he was opening a theme park. Then came the kicker. Newsom wanted to bring this model to the whole country. Rogan imagined a presidential campaign full of smog slogans and smug grins. If that doesn't scare people, Rogan said nothing will.